Over the past few years, not many games have gripped me as quickly and strongly as Eric Barone's Stardew Valley, a game that takes familiar concepts and blends them together to make a fully unique product. After having played multiple titles that influenced Stardew Valley's design, I began to wonder what about those borrowed concepts work well in Stardew Valley, and what does Stardew Valley do well on its own that separates it from other games? Posing the question, what do I like about Stardew Valley? First off, I'd like to discuss the game's most striking element, which is its charisma, a trait borrowed from its source material. Following the game's introduction, you are greeted by the charismatic characters, music, and visual style of Stardew Valley. For a game that utilizes pixel art for its look, it works very well in its favor as the art is very detailed, colorful, and fun. Walking through the environments is a treat, and from what I've read and seen, the town changes with the seasons, which I can imagine is refreshing after some time. The music is best described as pleasant and cute. This is one of the few games that I will not turn the music off in, as it sets the tone of the game so well that playing without it would be a crime to me. The characters in this game are very fun. They all have their own schedules, routines, likes and dislikes, and you can build relationships with each and every person in the town. While a game can be incredibly charismatic, however, that doesn't give it a fun factor, which brings me to the gameplay. Stardew Valley is a game with too many things to do, and I want to constantly be doing them all at once. And that's not a bad thing. It's actually what I find fun about the game. Maybe one day I'll focus my energy on cleaning and organizing my farm. Maybe I'll go fishing for a day, spend a day in the mines, or maybe I'll just walk around in town all day and give people gifts. There's so much to do, and every day in the game feels like there's not enough time to do it all, and that's by design. This is the sort of game where I'll constantly be saying, just one more day and I'm done, every time I play it. And when I'm not playing it, I'm thinking about what tasks I want to focus on when I do get to play. Hell, I even read the subreddit and wiki for strategies. Stardew Valley does an excellent job of making you feel like you're scaling up. You work hard to get resources that you can then use to upgrade almost every aspect of yourself. You can make your house bigger, upgrade your tools, add features to your farm, and even work towards collecting items to fix up the community center. It all feels really good and is extremely rewarding. And a quick side note before I move on to my issues with the game, while with most games like this I would play with a mouse and keyboard, Stardew Valley made me want to plug in a controller and kick back, and I highly recommend trying it out with one as it made for a more relaxing experience for me. Unfortunately, no game is perfect, and Stardew Valley is no exception. However, my complaints are few and far between, and mostly relate to the early game. First of all, I feel like the game underexplains how things work and what you should be doing. I know that the game is designed this way in order to allow for player creativity and self-development, but there could be just a bit more hand-holding in my opinion. And going off of that, I find the early game doesn't really direct you well in what you should be doing. There are quests and objectives, but they seem scattered, and I was constantly worried I was doing the wrong thing early on. Lastly, I can see how for some people, the point I made earlier about the game being overwhelming can be a criticism, even though that aspect worked for me once I got into the game. But that's about all I can say against it. So what differentiates Stardew Valley from its influences? I think the main factor is its accessibility. Both games that Eric Barone cites as his influence are Nintendo titles that are exclusive to their platforms. Stardew Valley can be played on any level PC or Mac, as it uses very few resources, and is also now available on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Funny enough, the only platforms you cannot get Stardew Valley on are Nintendo's consoles. While it's no secret that the systems and characteristics of Stardew Valley are very similar to Harvest Moon and Animal Crossing, I find the world to be much more mature. From characters dealing with PTSD and alcoholism, to being able to build real relationships with the people in that world. While the game is fantastical, the world is very real. Lastly, the game is very cheap and frequently goes on sale. Currently you can pick up Stardew Valley for $14.99, but I was able to get it for $7 during the last Steam sale. That being said, it's well worth its retail price. In conclusion, I would recommend this game to just about everyone I know who enjoys Animal Crossing, Harvest Moon, or just anyone who's looking for a relaxing game. If at first it feels too overwhelming or difficult, I highly recommend using the Stardew Valley wiki and subreddit as guides to help you get started. Stardew Valley is a creative take on a familiar genre that has very few issues, and I think it is an instant classic. It is for me at least, and I can't wait to play more and see what else is coming in future updates.